Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crockett Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the Warzone. Every night, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Get on the phone and call somebody and tell them I am the 5-star general. Tonight, we going to talk about the race for Fort Bend County Judge. KP George versus Trevor Nelms. It's going to be interesting. You don't want to miss this one. Let's get to it, man. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the Warzone and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in, because you know without you good people, I wouldn't have a show. And it is very important for me to remind you that you're the most important audience in the world. Let's set our privacy settings to where they need to be. Okay, so we're ready to go. I could go into a lot of different things, but tonight I want to talk about the race between Trevor Nelms and Bend County Judge. I know I'm starting a little bit later. I've had something I had to do, and that's on a daily basis. So I'm thinking about pushing the Warzone back maybe to about 9 on a nightly. It gives people time to get home, get situated, get relaxed so that I can do what I need to do and give you the information. I'm going to tell you this here. When you think about Fort Bend County, you think about the diversity. You think about the suburbs and how quiet and how calm it used to be. It used to be. And a lot of that has to do with the used to be side. It has a lot to do with the current elected officials that are residing in Fort Bend County. One of the most important positions in Fort Bend County is the Fort Bend County Judge position that is currently held by KP George. It's currently held by KP George over in Fort Bend County. I know he won his primary, but the thing is Fort Bend County is not the quiet, safe community anymore. It's not. You have a lot of violence that's popping up. You have a lot of gang violence that's popping up. And of course, people are going to say that KP's done a great job. I'm going to say otherwise. What I'm going to say to you is KP George is just like any other politician. He's placated the African American community. He's alienated his own Indian community. And a lot of people are not happy with the performance of KP George. So out of the woodworks comes a guy that, I have a lot of respect for. A guy that has been in law enforcement for quite a long time. And actually the brother of a U.S. Congressman, Troy Nelms. His name is Trevor Nelms. And Trevor is a decorated war veteran who had stints in Afghanistan and different places. When the floods came through, he was one of the first guys to get out and go and rescue people on his own. He didn't have to do it. He could have stayed in the house. But that'll tell you the difference between a politician and a public servant. A public servant sees the work that needs to be done, and they get out and they do the work. So, we're going to break down some things tonight as to why I feel that the best choice for Fort Bend County Judge is Trevor Nelms over KP George. You may not agree with me, but the truth is the truth. And sometimes it's just not what people want to hear. It's just not what people want to hear. KP George's tenure as the county judge in Fort Bend County has been tumultuous, if we want to, use the right words. It's been electrifying. It's been tumultuous. It's been a utter failure to a lot of people. Now, I want you to understand that in the primaries, KP George did not receive as many votes as Trevor Nelms did in his primary. KP's a Democrat, Trevor is a Republican. And Trevor outgained him in votes by, like, I think it was about 13,000 votes. So that right there tells me that there may be some trouble in paradise for KP George. So if you're sitting here and you're from Fort Bend County, the one thing I want you to do is, if you are a quote unquote minority, I want you to take your dunce hat off for a second. I want you to take your ignorant Negro, I just need a turkey dunce hat off for a second. The first thing that the Democratic Party is going to tell you is don't vote for the Republican Trevor Nelms. And I'm going to tell you, you're crazy if you don't. The Democratic Party is controlled by Cynthia Ginyard. She rules, from what I understand, she rules the Democratic Party of Fort Bend County with an iron fist. It's certain people that she wants in office. And my question is, as long as you end up with a Democrat, why it matter who it is? Because they want to control the narrative. They want to control the situation. And I see people popping in from Katy, Texas, Beaumont, Texas, Lafayette, Louisiana. My friend is all the way up in, I think it's Wisconsin or Cleveland. So this is, you guys are everywhere. So I want you to focus on this. Cynthia Ginyard runs the Democratic Party with an iron fist in Fort Bend County. If she doesn't get her way, she throws little temper tantrums. And, she's even, from what people have told me, that she's even talked bad about me. Now, when I talk to her, it's not like that. It's hard to look a real one in the eye and say the things that you said behind his back when he's standing right there in your face. This is my thing. You have influential African Americans in Fort Bend County that are going to tell you that you need to vote for KP. And one question that I would ask, the first question, is what the hell has KP George done for the African American community? What has he done for his own Indian-based community? KP George is just another example of a failure that sits in political office. Along the way, he has, in commissioner's court, because he's over commissioner's court, along the way, he has instituted some policies and has been involved with some situations that may be getting a little blowback. One of the biggest issues was the vote to give a consulting contract for voter outreach to a young lady by the name of Shakira Dennis. Now, if you don't understand how that contract works, it's a similar contract, just like what Hidalgo got caught up in Harris County. It's exactly the same type of contract for COVID outreach. That's what it was. It was COVID outreach. But why would you need to do COVID outreach when the COVID was basically at the end of the spectrum now? That contract was for about $3 million. I haven't seen any outreach that's been done. I haven't seen anything but voter outreach that's been done by the individuals that got this contract. Now, there are other things that have come up along the way with this contract in regards to subcontractors who had no ideologies that they were on the paperwork for this particular contract. Now, I sat down with the county judge, KP George, one day, and I tried to talk to him. And I told him that at the end of the day, that contract is a bad contract. These people are popping up saying they had no ideas that they were on this contract. You need to go in and tell Commissioner's Court to rescind this contract. He hasn't done that. So that tells me that you are comfortable knowing that $3 million of taxpayers' money is being misappropriated in Fort Bend County. So If $3 million of taxpayers' money is being misappropriated, and this guy has the power to try and fix that issue. Hold on a second, you guys. Okay. Why hasn't he done it? You know, the money go under the table. Some people make money under the table. The money is under the table. Maybe that's why he didn't do it. The mistreatment of citizens during the COVID, the way that people were thrown out of commissioner's court. Now, when I went to commissioner's court, he tried to shut me down, but I shut his ass down. I shut him down because I understand the Constitution of the United States, and I also understand Texas state and federal law. So he could not shut me down. And the mistreatment of, citizens when they were trying to speak at these meetings and throwing them out the building, authorizing people to do this. Is that who you want to run your county? What makes Trevor Nelms different from KP George? To me, because Trevor is genuine. I've had the opportunity multiple times to sit down and talk to him. Trevor understands, and one of his biggest bullet points for his campaign is addressing the crime in Fort Bend County. It's addressing the crime. He was a law enforcement officer. He understands it. Now, you have to ask yourself a question. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, and you keep getting the same results, would they consider you an idiot? Why would you put the same person back in office that didn't address the crime because you just don't want to put a Republican in office? No, what you want to do is put the most qualified person in office. And in this particular race between Trevor Nelms and KP George, the most qualified person is Trevor Nelms. Do I think that Fort Bend County will be safer with Trevor as the county judge? 100%. Do I think that there will be more economic opportunity for minority-owned businesses in Fort Bend County? 100%. Do I believe that Trevor will be approachable to speak to people without all the security and all that stuff there? 100%. 100%. I'm tired of all of these people who just feel like they are heaven sent and you can't hold a 2-minute conversation with them once they become elected. You need somebody who clearly understands that you can't wait for change any longer. They're burying your people in Fort Bend County. The gang situation is out of control in Fort Bend County. In Fort Bend County, who would have ever thought that we'd be talking about gang violence in Fort Bend County? One of my good friends lost 2 of her boys in her driveway, gunned down. That doesn't happen in Fort Bend County. It wasn't happening when Trevor's brother Troy was the sheriff. And I lived there when Troy was the sheriff of Fort Bend County. It wasn't happening. Can we get back to living in Fort Bend County and it be peaceful? Without a shadow of a doubt. Will that happen if you leave KP George in office? No. KP is a puppet. He's a puppet for stronger black politicians in Fort Bend County. He'll do whatever they tell him to do. He's not going to do what's best for the people. Trevor Nelms, on the other hand, will do what's best for the people because Trevor has already been working for the people. I didn't see KP George get out there, when we were flooding and try to rescue people, but Trevor Nelms did. And he never had to leave. He didn't have to leave his house, but yet he did it. It tells me something about his character. From a Black perspective, you've been bamboozled in Fort Bend County into believing that the KP Georges, that the greater prestiges, who's nothing more than a borderline crook to me, my honest opinion, are the best things since sliced bread. The African American community needs better representation. I want to read some of these comments. Bernard Lane says, no bonds for felons with Republican judges. I love my family. Here's the problem, Bernard, that you have to also understand, according to the Constitution, they are entitled to a first bond. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. They're entitled to a second bond, but it doesn't have to be a low one. Thunder said, did you see where they're already blaming Black men if Stacey Abrams doesn't get elected? The Dems are finally acknowledging Black men, but I think it may be too late. It is too late. You can't bamboozle us anymore. And that's what we're not going to allow to happen in Fort Bend County. Black men who get up on a daily and take care of their families, pay their taxes, should not have to worry about a county judge who's a puppet who will allow taxes to go through the roof. Yeah, your taxes go up all the time in Fort Bend. My question is why? It's your representation. It's your representation. A lot of politicians are getting out right now. It's almost that time of the year. Your vote is worth a turkey. Can you motherfuckers go buy a ham? You done gave away too many turkeys. I don't want no turkeys. But your vote is worth a turkey. Notice how I be looking off, and because it's amazing that Black men, Black women, people in general have not woke up to the foolery of the Democratic Party. Now, this program is a nonpartisan program. Because I'm on this program, we rock with who we rock with. And it can be a Republican or a Democrat. But all in all, wherever the Democrats control and where they reign, it's always a lot of crime. Fort Bend County was not like that before the Democrats grabbed a hold of it. Now, all Democrats in Fort Bend County are not bad. Let's get that straight. But a lot of y'all ain't worth a damn. And see, you don't want me to speak on this because you upset that I fell off the Democratic plantation where I'm a runaway political slave. I've run off the Democratic plantation. So now I get to tell the truth to the people as far as how this goes. Wherever the Democrats control, and y'all have been following me, you know that I travel all over the country. Wherever I go and the Democrats are in control, it's high crime, drug use is through the roof, it's gang violence. Everywhere I go where the Democrats are in control, the quality of life for veterans is garbage. Homelessness through the roof. But yet we're supposed to not sell out and keep these people in office. If you want help with a better school system, then you're going to have to sell out. If you want to address the rise in crime, then you're going to have to sell out. If you want a better quality of life for veterans, if you want to fix homelessness, you're going to have to sell out. But it's really not a sellout. It's what we rightfully deserve. So if anybody tells you, if you man and woman enough to stand in the front of the Fort Bend County courthouse and say, I'm voting for Trevor Nelms, oh, you selling out. Tell me how. Tell me how. Because I want better, I'm selling out. Let me tell y'all what this ain't, man. This ain't no plantation. We don't eat pork bellies. You understand? We don't stand under the tree and sing old Negro spirituals. The massa has opened the gate to the Democratic Party. Use free now. All you got to do is walk out that gate. All you got to do is walk out that gate. I want to read your comment, Dennis, because you have a problem with white folks and Republicans, so I want to read this. You blame that on Democrats, laugh my ass off. I blame it on ignorant Negroes who has nothing to do with a party, has to do with sorry-ass parents and lazy parents. Which sorry-ass parent got a $3 million contract in Fort Bend and got it fraudulently? Which sorry-ass parents on commissioner's court voted for that? I wish I would vote for a racist party. You know, the biggest racist, Dennis, that we don't want to acknowledge is the black supremacist. It's the black ones that continuously hold us back. See, you get your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, brother. But some people don't. Some people don't. What we ain't gonna keep doing is blaming this on those sorry-ass parents. We're gonna blame this on those sorry-ass Democratic politicians that's your partners. That's who we're gonna blame that on. We talking about politics, man. We ain't talking about no parents. We talking about politics, man. So tell me where I'm wrong. We talking about Negroes being in office and all they doing is lining their pockets, and we're supposed to keep playing the game, waiting for Dr. King's dream to come true. Excuse my French. Negro, please. If you want to wait on it, wait on it. But a lot of us, I'm not. I'm not. I have a voice, and in Fort Bend County, we need some people to take control of it. Now, here's my thing. If they had 4 years to do their jobs, why didn't they do it? They don't give. Let me read the comments. Lord Dunn says, why we don't fight for Democrats to get more? Lord, can I have this conversation with you? You ain't in office. I ain't in office. But I'm pretty sure if we were there, we would fight to get more. We would really fight to get more. But the ones that are there They already got more. They're not trying to help us. Matter of fact, they're so slick with it that when they get tired of being in office, they try to pass the office down to their kids. But we have to fight to help them fight to get more. Let me see your next comment. All right. They don't give Democrats the opportunity to improve anything we ask for. You sure about that? Let's try this a different way. Did the Democrats have enough votes to get an African-American woman put on the Supreme Court? Yep. They pulled it off. So if you could do that, why haven't they done anything else? If you have the votes to do what you want to do, filibusters included, why haven't they done it? Because the plan is they don't want you to be like Dennis Glenn and have property and land and you know, you're kind of set for the rest of your life. They want to control the masses. And the way that you control the masses is you control them through their finances. So if you keep these niggas poor and keep them dependent on the government, they will be our puppet for the rest of their lives. This is what the great Democratic Party does. You notice how they got functions every other fucking day? And they honoring the same people over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And ain't none of these people did nothing for our communities. Nothing. But we're supposed to keep waiting with our hands out, begging for what our tax money has already paid for. Demetria K says Democratic politicians ain't poor. She damn sure ain't lying. They filthy rich off the backs of us. Didn't your mamas and daddies tell you to be in like-minded company? The only way you're going to check $1 million, if you're hanging around people that got it, you learn something from them. Let me tell you how you got bamboozled. Let me tell you how you got bamboozled. Everybody and their mama screaming right now about the gun law and permitless carry. I'm going to take you back to bring you back. There's a uniparty in existence. What is the uniparty? The uniparty is Republicans and Democrats working covertly in concert together to keep certain people up out of office. So you got Republicans trying to keep Republicans out of office? Yeah, because they don't want things to change. So let me take you back to bring you back. You ready? Well, Robert Williams say, screw both of the parties. Ain't nobody gonna save us but us. And us ain't ready to take the assignment on. We ain't ready to take the assignment on. See, I don't need a rapper to be my leadership in my community. I don't need a business owner to be my leadership in my community. I don't need to lean on the crooked pastor for him to tell me who to vote for in my community. Because all three of those entities that I just named, those same politicians line their pockets too. Don't you notice, black folk, that we're the only race of people that's got to have entertainers telling us what to do? You don't see that from no Asians, no Latinos, and no white folk. Do the white Bun B show up and tell the white folk who to vote for? In every race across the country, look at the black people who say they represent us. Cardi B and all these people trying to tell you who you need to vote for. Okay, so you telling us who we should vote for, but Cardi, are you actually taking advantage of those Republican tax breaks with all that fucking money you got? Talk to me. Because everything you complain about Trump on with his taxes, them same people telling us who to vote for take advantage of them same tax breaks. Does Fort Bend County need new representation on Commissioner's Court? You damn right they do. God damn it, if you're going to steal, if you're going to be conniving, if you're going to commit crimes while you're in office, make sure you take care of the people first. And they have not taken care of us. Exactly. Exactly, D. Demetrius say, when the last time we saw a white politician doing the electric boogaloo or the goddamn Cupid shuffle trying to get people to vote the way they want them to vote? They don't do that. We look for people to guide us, and they know this. So therefore, they use their influence and the fact that you are an ignorant voter to persuade you to vote for who they want you to vote for. Now, all these people got tons of money that's telling you to do this. And I just talked to Travis McGee on this yesterday. And as soon as you get these folk in office and they ain't doing jack shit, this is what normally happens. Let me show you what normally happens. Let me turn my volume up, and I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna repeat that statement. I'm gonna do it again. Hold on a second. So if I go here and I want to add, okay, let me hold on a second. I'm looking for something. I'm looking for something. Hold on a second. There we go. As soon as y'all go out to vote and y'all put these people in office that you know ain't nothing but some criminals, this is what normally happens. I told this to Travis yesterday. When y'all go out there and make your stupid ass decisions on who you're voting for, and then they screw us, my phone starts to ring. Travis McGee's phone starts to ring. Larry McKenzie's phone starts to ring. But ain't none of us good enough to sit in office to represent you, but you want us to fix all your problems when you make the mistakes at the polls that you make. There shall be no mistakes in the Fort Bend County judge race. Trevor Nelms is the choice. KP George is a puppet. If y'all thought Hidalgo was a puppet, shit, I can see the strings hanging from KP head. He's a bona fide puppet. He's a bona fide puppet, man. Our money in Fort Bend County, Harris County, the United States of America needs to stay right here. It needs to stay right here. We're taking our money, we're sending it to the Ukraine. We're making sure that when their kids come over here, if they get here, they get to go to school for free. Your kids ain't going to college for free. But it's the people that we're putting in office, and then we say we got to give them time. How much fucking time they need? Let's go back to the civil rights movement. Let's go back 60 years, 60 some, almost 70 years. How much time they need? How much more time do they need? Because your grandmama, your mama, and soon be us will all be dead, waiting on dreams to come true. Laura Dunn says we need you in the position that you are, so officials know that they will be held accountable. So you think my strongest strength is sitting outside of the building? For real? You just made sure that I run in every election that pop up, because ain't no officials in my district running unopposed again. Never. No. I don't need to sit outside and continue to do the work of an elected official that's not doing it. And I'm going to keep running until I win something. Who cares? Who cares? They taunt diversity in Fort Bend County. Have you seen how they treat people in Fort Bend County? Have you ever been to Commissioner's Court? Laura Dunn says, not necessarily. We just don't have people holding people accountable. So I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to ask of you guys. How do you hold an elected official accountable like KP George, who's been a failure for the last 4 years? How do you hold them accountable? I'm going to be quiet for a second, light me a cigarette. Y'all tell me, how do you hold elected officials accountable? Type your answer in. How do you hold elected officials accountable? And then I'm gonna hit you with another question, because then it'll make sense. Bernard Lane says, vote them out of office, period. Good answer. How do you hold elected officials accountable? Let me give you the second question. If you work for a company and you don't do your job, what happens to you? Laura Dunn says, call them out on their bullshit, just like I do. Garrett Brain says, apply pressure. Come on, I need two more people. How do you hold elected officials accountable like KP George, who's not done his job? If you worked for a company and you didn't do your job, what would happen to you? So how do you hold them accountable? It's taking y'all too long, so I'm going to go back up to Bernard Lane's comment. You vote them out of office. That's how you hold them accountable. Because KP George cannot make promises this time. You made promises to get in office. So now all we need to see from him is the work that he's done. And if there has been no work that has been done, he should be fired. Your vote is your voice. That's how you hold elected officials accountable. So let's go. Let's go. Come on now. Want to go national with this conversation? How do you hold Joe Biden accountable? You keep letting him get away with the lies? You keep falling for the little fancy statements? I want to see your work. I want to see what you've done. The promises that you made. Did you keep them? No. And then here come the excuses as to why. There are no excuses when you have all the power to make it happen. When you have all the votes to make it happen. You got the White House, you got the Senate, and the Congress. What's the problem? See, in these elections that are coming up, whether it's the Fort Bend County judge election with KP George and Trevor Nelms, we can look at it across the spectrum. Black men are going to be a problem for the Democratic Party this time. You bamboozled them last time. They ain't falling for it this time. You know why they ain't falling for it? Because it's unsafe. You know why they ain't falling for it? It's hard to put gas in their cars. You want to know why they ain't falling for it? Food prices are through the roof. They not falling for it this time. And Trevor Nelms will address crime his first day in office. It's time to get some folk in office that want to get some things done, man. Cedric, let's read Cedric's comment. Kamala Harris chucked and pearled her ass, chucked and pearled your ass to death, and you don't hear a peep from her. Exactly. She used you. So when it comes to Kamala, how you female Negroes feel now? You got your chucks and pearls ready for 24? Because she gonna come with the same lies. She gonna come with the same rhetoric. Laura Dunn says, it's how we've been taught to not say anything. It takes the bold ones to call them on their BS. Well, Lori, I'm glad that there was a Dr. King. I'm glad that there was a Malcolm X, a Fred Shuttlesworth. I'm glad that these guys did what they needed to do, because otherwise we'd probably still be counting jelly beans at the voting polls. The same way that they do it, the same way that I do it, why is it so hard for you guys to do it? I'm not even talking about Eric and Brian, but trust me, it's coming. It's coming. They gonna come with the BS, like Cedric said, and suck all y'all one-track-minded Negroes in for 24. Exactly. Because you're gonna fall for the fancy speeches. You're gonna fall for the tailor-made lies. And we'll be right back in the same position that we were in before. Whether you like it or not, the Democratic Party is trash. It's trash across the board. Is the Republican Party any better? Not the ones that's in the Uniparty. They trash too. Mad at me? Yeah, because I'm going to call you out. Is the Republican Party any better? Well, no, not the rhinos. They just as dirty as the Democrats. So my thing is, we have to find the most qualified people to sit in these positions. We have to, without a shadow of a doubt, take every single election very, very seriously. And we're going to have to go down that ballot. It's no more straight ticket voting. No more straight ticket voting. I tell you this here. This is one way you can figure out who to vote for. When you go to church and them politicians show up, if they ain't been praising God in that church for the last 4 years, why you inviting them in now? Because your pastor finna get paid. Your pastor finna get a bunch of grant money. So he's going to tell you you need to vote for these people. He's going to open his pulpit to let them in, to bamboozle you. Ain't a pastor walking the face of the earth can tell me who I need to vote for. Not a pastor walking the face of this earth can tell Gary Monroe who I need to vote for. Because when the disasters happen, church used to be the first one to open the door. Now you got to call them out to get them open the doors. And then once you call them out, they come out with a lie as to why the doors wasn't open. And then you back in there the next Sunday giving them all your money. The Fort Bend County judge race between Trevor Nelms and KP George is a no-brainer. KP's caught up in the corruption. KP has disrespected his own Indian community. KP doesn't give a damn about the African-American community. He could care less about the white community. Ain't too many more ethnicities left in Fort Bend. You got some Asians, you got a few people. But the bottom line is, did he do the work? Did he take care of the people for 4 years? And I can honestly tell you, hell no. He did not, and he will not do it for the next 4 years. If you're crazy enough to put him back in there, you're going to go through the same things. The same exact thing. It's a nonpartisan position. The county judge position is, to the best of my knowledge. Well, now because it's a partisan. But the thing is, it's a nonpartisan job. That's what I really want to say. It's a nonpartisan job because you have to take care of all the people, not just Democrats. And what KP George and Eric Fagan and these folks did is they decided they would separate the two. They would treat Republican people indifferent, and they would only take care of the Democrats. That's not what you do when you're in those positions. I'm sorry. You may have had a partisan race, but once you get the job, it's a nonpartisan job. And he's not done the job. He didn't take care of all the people. Basically, he only wanted to take care of his voting base. So guess what? If you man enough to put mandates on people, when a pandemic pops, you should be man enough to stand in front of these people and explain to them, KP George, why you've not done your job for 4 years. You should be man enough to stand in front of them and tell them everything that you've done to slow down the crime, which has risen crazily in Fort Bend County. You should be man enough to stand in front of them and tell them the initiatives that you've taken to deal with the rising gang violence in Fort Bend County. But you can't do that because you didn't do the work. So whether you want to accept it or not, my endorsement for Fort Bend County Judge goes to Trevor Nelms, because from the day he sets foot in office, he's going to bust his behind to make Fort Bend County a safe county again. A county where the taxes are not going through the roof, where the cost of living can be affordable, not just for poor people, but for everybody. He's going to make sure that the veterans have a better quality of life. He's going to make sure that the homelessness, if he can get rid of it, he wants to get rid of that too. KP, you had 4 years to show us you could do those things, and you didn't show us anything. So because you didn't show us anything, in the immortal words of one of the greatest philosophers of all time, Lisa Left Eye Lopez, since you didn't do your job, KP, sorry for you. Say it's a reason I'm the best in the business. We trying to do this every night. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Say, man, get on the phone and call somebody and tell them I am the 5-star general. I'm finna tackle these judge races. These judges, Fort Bend County, Harris County, you up next. And I am going to dismantle you. With that being said, I'll holler at you.